We are getting there, one step at a time. All right, there we go. Perfect. And there we go. Good, good, good. All right. All right, I think we are almost to the point where we are all together, hanging out, and streaming on YouTube all at the same time. All right, good, good, good. All right, I just need to make sure that the live streaming shows up. We'll be good to go. All right, well, it looks like I've got 6 folks with me in the Zoom conference. I've got Chris, Joe, Matthew, Miltades, and Whale. Last time we ended up with 70 some people and it got a little crazy. So hopefully this time it'll be a little more manageable. And YouTube wise, I'm still waiting for that to show up. That is going. There we go. Good. Okay, good. We are live on YouTube now. Last time we ended up with 7. Mute that. Good. Good, good, good. All right. I think we are good to go. Hello to all. Okay, good. I think we are good. Okay, good. Sorry. A lot of I's to dot and T's to cross. So let's do this. What I'm doing, and I'll kick this all off with an introduction. So we got a majority of folks on YouTube right now, and let me just get that to where I can see folks chatting in from there. Good, there we go. Hi from Poland. Hi Poland, and there we go. I can see that now. Okay, good. So just to orient all of you right now, if I'm looking right here, that means I'm looking at the folks in the Zoom conference who have graciously jumped on to chat with me. What's great is the folks that I do see where I see the video started, like Chris and Matt and Whale. It looks like you are at home, which is perfect because that's what this whole live stream is about. For those of you that are on YouTube, if you want to jump in, I actually posted the URL. And let me get that real quick. Just so we can all be on the same page. Let's see, my account, meetings, good. So if you would like to join the video stream to where you can jump on and we can have a conversation, I'm gonna post it in the YouTube chat right about now. Zoom makes you register before you can jump in. So you have to type in your name and email and all that, and that's fine. And then you'll jump into the conference, and then you and I can have a conversation. So now let me start talking about why we're here. So with the world of the coronavirus and the world gone crazy, and it's funny because I look and I'm like, is it really like, I don't know. There's a cynical person in me that's like, this is like some kind of media hype gone bad, like, you know, because of all of the previous versions of this, the swine flu, the H1N1, all those kind of things. You look at what happened there, and it's just like, what's different? But that is far beyond my brain and everything else that's going on. Regardless, the impact of the coronavirus has had tons of companies. My company include my 2 companies. I work with CBT Nuggets, and they, as of Monday this last week, they said everybody go home, nobody come into the office. So that's 100 some employees that are boom immediately now sitting at home, some for the first time. The company that I own, Via, has 32 employees, and we sent everybody home on Monday. So everybody's working from home the first time. I created a YouTube video a little while back that said, in a nutshell, here's my 5 tips for working from home. And I sat there thinking, and I'm like, but who am I? I mean, I've been working at home for a long time, but there are tons of people that do this as well, and some that have a lot more knowledge than me. So what I'd love to do is if you're in the Zoom conference, which it looks like we're up to 8 people right now. Chris, JV, Miltades, I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. Nathan, Ruben, Whale, Matthew, any of you guys, if you want to jump on and have a conversation, if you have either a question of like, well, how can I do this? Or you have something that you can contribute and add in. Either one, I'm all for. Just in the Zoom conference, hit the raise hand button. I think there's some place, find it, where you can raise your hand, and that way I don't promote somebody who doesn't want to be promoted and on camera. But I and 1,000 other people would love to hear your story of what have you found? This is the question. What have you found that is most effective for you in working from home? And I'll start off sharing what has helped me a lot. But I really, the main reason I'm doing the live stream is because I would love to hear from you guys in your home environment. And it's funny because I see some of the pictures and I see some of you are like set up to work from home. Like you've got like the perfect, I'm not going to call out names but you got like the perfect camera view, the perfect setup of working from home. So I would love to know what works well for you. So raise your hand and I can bring you guys in there. So I'll start off. And these are things, some I shared in the YouTube video that I posted where I said, here's my top 5 things. Some I didn't. So I'll start off with how my most effective work from home tips. And by the way, if you're on YouTube and you chat in, obviously greetings from India. Hello, India. But if you have something and you just want to type it in, totally fine as well. I've got Nathan actually has jumped in. He's going to actually moderate a lot of those things. Bring them up to me in a separate chat window that I'm finding right about now. Perfect. And do that as well. So for me, things that help me be as effective as I possibly can be working from home. Number one is how I dress. A lot of people, when they see me, they're like, why are you wearing a button up? And this is my normal apparel for working from home. And I've got a bunch of kids running around, my wife, and they just know when I put on, and this is something I didn't share before when I talked about it. If I dress in my normal t-shirt and shorts, which is what I wear on the weekends, or if I'm not working, there's just something that clicks in my brain where I'm like, I'm just like I might end up in front of a computer, but just like that's where I start drifting. I'm like, I'm kind of like it sets my mind into a casual mode, which is, whatever I want to do. So first thing is, how I dress really sets the mode, as well as when I'm on a conference. There's just, I'm going to be very tactful in how I say this because it can be taken the wrong way. But a lot of times if somebody jumps on a business video call and they're in a t-shirt, there's just, you're kind of like, are you really ready to work? Are you, do you really have and it's like a subconscious thing for people. So a lot of times if I'm on a business video call and I'm in a t-shirt and shorts, unless I happen to be on the road and they just sucked me in, it sets the tone. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and again, I'll remind you, if you want to jump on and chat, I can share everything I've got, and I'll probably be done in about 5-10 minutes. But I would much rather have you guys jump on and chat with me as well. So raise your hand in the Zoom conference or chat it in on YouTube Live, and we can go from there. So second thing that I do is create an extreme structure. And when I say extreme structure, it's not extreme. It's just when you're at home, if you don't wake up at the same time, if you don't start work at the same time, it just can ebb and flow into a full day of unproductivity. Meaning, working from home has extreme benefits of being able to mix personal and work together, in the sense that, for instance, after I'm done with this live stream, my wife is like, you got to go somewhere and find toilet paper. Like right now, this is the thing in the world right now, is everybody's making a run at the stores on toilet paper, and my family is in need of toilet paper for real. It's not that we're stockpiling. It's just we don't stockpile toilet paper. So now, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take an hour and go do that, and I'll get back to work tonight. So in that is an extraordinary flexibility to where when most people are at work, I can make a run. And right now the world, for whatever reason, has gone crazy with the coronavirus on everybody emptying the store shelves of toilet paper. So I've got to go find some. So I can do that and then slot it in the evening when to do work. However, if I'm not extreme on my schedule, then at some point it's going to kick in like, oh, 5 o'clock's here, I'm done, because I'm supposed to be done. Because somewhere in the history of mankind, somebody defined an 8 to 5 workday, and they said, you start at 8, you're done at 5, or start at 9, done at 6, or done at 4, whatever standard schedule there is. And that'll click in so that you'll be doing all kinds of personal stuff during the day. 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock hits, and you're like, I'm done, because that's the normal stop time of just about everybody in the rest of the world. So that's I'm seeing a couple people chat in. So that's some of the struggle. So a lot of times I'll block out an Outlook calendar. Like I'll say, okay, I'm starting my day at, let's just say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And I'll have my hour block. That's when I'm doing, X, and I'm defining the activity. That's done. And now I'm running to the store to get supplies, and then I'm back. And so working from home will move you into a mode of accomplishment rather than literal hours. Meaning I should be looking and defining things that I'm accomplishing in my day, rather than just I'm putting in 8 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours, however long, hours I'm putting in. It's like, okay, no, I'm going to finish, this live stream, for example. This is on my list of things to accomplish. I'm going to create today, right after this, I plan on creating a guide for schools on how they can do remote classrooms. That's one of my accomplishments. So when that's done, I'm done. I don't have to say I'm here 9 to 5 or 8, but sometimes it might take me till 10 or midnight, working on this one thing. So when you work from home, moving to a mindset of accomplishment-based work, way more effective if you can do that. If you're the 8 to 5, then the office is the best place for you. Like if you're like, I show up at 8, I leave at 5, then be in an office, or structure your workday from home like an office, to where it's like, I come in, I sit there, and I leave, because I'm more so, I'm there as the mindset, right? Good. So I want to pause for a minute, because I know there's a few other people that are on right now. So if you have anything, feel free to chat it in on YouTube Live. Chris, I see your hand. Thank you for that. And a couple of people just saying, hey, thumbs up, love you, thanks, love you guys too. So Chris, let me bring you into this. I'm gonna I think bring you on board. There you go. You're unmuted. I'm curious, and it's funny because your little thumbnail up there was the one I was looking at when I was like, man, you got a sweet looking setup for how you're doing. Tell me your world. First off, where are you from? Yeah, let's start off with the core.
Yeah, so I'm in New Hampshire. I'm a wireless engineer, and for the most part, I work from home or I fly to a customer site.
Oh, excellent.
So I've been working from home for a long time, and really have an office setup that it's all my equipment, and really I've been focused on ergonomics and workflow.
Yeah.
So having a sit-stand desk, having multiple monitors that you can break different documents up onto. It's a better, for me, it's a better way to work than just working from my laptop off of a dining room table.
Yeah, for sure. So let me pause you and ask you a few questions, because first off, Really intrigued, wireless engineer working from home. So obviously when you're traveling to a customer site, are you installing, configuring, troubleshooting? What, like, give me a bigger picture of that world, or all the above. Oh, are you there? Did I lose you? Hang on. There you go. You're back.
So
There
I've also gotten in a good habit of muting myself when I'm not talking on, and the way the Zoom is set up, that if I mute myself, you have to unmute.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. Feel free. Talk all day.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the, I got distracted by the mute. What was the question?
Right. So the main thing I was asking is, as a wireless engineer, you're out in the field. Are you installing, configuring, troubleshooting, or all the above? Like, what makes you fly to a customer site?
Yeah, typically it's an install or a survey.
Okay.
So seeing what's there right now for a new install, so completing a design, going out on site and configuring the network infrastructure and the controllers and everything, getting ready to go for a new install, or doing post install validation.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so when you're remote, what are the kind of things that you do? Because I find a lot of like what you do in your job really dictates a lot of how you work in the remote thing.
Yeah, so for the remote, it's a lot of design work within wireless design tools. So it's looking at floor plans, it's defining requirements, placing APs on the map, making sure that those meet requirements, and then developing the reports that are ultimately the customer deliverable. So I think I find that your workday will depend on what you do and what works best for you. So I like to use things like Pomodoro techniques, where if I'm looking at a large wireless design, I break it up into, all right, I'm going to work steadily on this for 25 minutes and then take a little 5-minute break and get a coffee, or just step away from it and stop looking at it for a minute, and then come right back to it for another 25-minute block. I find it works well for me, so I don't get really overwhelmed and sitting there for 4 hours just staring at a screen. At the end of the day, I'm a lot more refreshed and not, I guess, not nearly as grumpy at the end of the day.
Right now, do you find that you have the discipline that, like, when you're like, okay, 5-minute break, you're out there and you're like, the grass, it's long, or you know where I'm going, like, oh, it looks like, do you find you have the discipline to get back in the office, and is that a struggle for you? Oh, that's hilarious. Hang on. You should be
muscle memory is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So if I'm working on something, I can have a lot of times I'll have the discipline. I think, I think, like a lot of us, that there are times when you're not really productive, and that there's times where you just can't get your head into that mode. And one of the benefits of working from home is that unless you've got a really strict deadline on something, is that you can go and work on something else, and then come back to it when you're a little bit more productive. But again, that ultimately depends on what type of work that you do.
Yeah. And so, I'm assuming while you're in the design mode, don't mute. While you're in the design mode, you've got a tool like Ekahau or whatever open, and you've got a floor plan, you're placing the APs, you're watching the cover, and you're like, okay, done. Do you set like milestones for yourself? Like, okay, that floor is done, I'm taking a break, or do you just like, when I feel tired, I'm done?
Yeah. So a lot of times it's either specific milestones within the project. So I've got this floor done. I'm gonna step away and grab a coffee, or it can be time based. So if there's Pomodoro timers that you can set, so it'll remind you at 25 minutes, and then you can take a quick break and then come back to it, or even just take a look at email, or do something different besides that hyper focus on a single topic.
Yeah. Do you find 25 minutes? You've said that a couple of times. 25 minutes is your like, that's my zone in, break, zone in, break. Does that work well for you?
That works well for me. I know some people that they prefer shorter times with shorter breaks. So it's a 15 minutes with a 2-minute break to go and catch up on email after what you've been working on. Or some people that they can stay very focused for a long period of time and then take a longer break.
So the thing that I'm super intrigued about with your setup. Like when you said the ergonomics, like you've nailed it. I love the office setup that you've got. I can't tell what they are, but it looks like, posters behind this, or whatever those are behind the scenes. It makes me go, what is that? And the chair you've got, even the window, like where you've placed everything. Did you have a strategy, or like, hey, I just put up a webcam and it worked this way? You got to have something, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a strategy. So the posters in the back, they're actually from the Jet Propulsion Lab's Visions of the Future. So it's essentially, it was a fake tourism campaign for terrestrial objects. So they're all like tourist posters of like I've got Earth on there, Enceladus, Europa.
Yeah.
So they're free to print. They're free license, so you can go and print them out yourself and hang them up. So they're very cool. We my wife and I bought this house about a year and a half ago, and
Yeah.
really this is my first time that I've had an office that wasn't sort of a closet.
Right.
So my goal was to have a little bit nicer space to work in, and I've just slowly been picking away at it.
Now, do you find, so for the company that you work for, are most the employees remote, and do you do a lot of this kind of chat? Obviously, if you're like trigger tuned to hit the mute button, you do this a lot. Do you find that most of the other workers that are there do things similar to what you've got, or is it all across the board?
It's all across the board. My employer that we're virtual company. Solely everyone works from their home office or they're on a customer site.
Yeah.
That I think it's depends on whether your workspace is sort of a priority and it's something that you want to, I guess, make a part of your home versus just having a corner where it's work stuff and it's good enough.
Yeah.
So it really depends on your priorities.
Yeah. Now you mentioned your wife. You're married, no kids, I'm guessing, right?
No kids.
Okay. Okay. The other thought that I had is, do you, with having this specific space, do you create rules? I mean, like, hey, nobody in here, or do you keep it like ebb and flow? Like, hey, yeah, come on in. If I'm on a video call, wave to everybody, and like, what do you feel like is that level of professionalism that you go after?
Yes. So it's if I have my headphones on and it's connected to the microphone that
Yep.
I'm in a call. So that's typically if my wife walks by, she won't come in unless it's something urgent. So that's sort of our indicator of whether I'm busy or focused or not. That if she's home and moving around, I'll typically close the door as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's you're working from home, and there's benefits to that, and interacting with your loved ones is definitely one of those benefits.
Yeah.
So I would say don't shut yourself off completely because
Yes.
it's good to talk to your kids or your wife throughout the day. That it's nice to have that, but just have those indicators of when you're busy and when you can't be disturbed.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Well, cool. Chris, this is super. Like, to have you jump on and just share is hugely helpful, because again, being remote, a lot of times, most people don't talk about being remote. Like when you talk to other remote people, it's just like, hey, we just do what we do, and you don't think much about it. But the other thing is connecting with someone else who works remote and just getting inside of your head, and just like, here's like, just again seeing your setup, I'm like, okay, why'd you do that? I'm like, did you have like, so is there anything else that you wanted to share, or you're thinking like, this is it?
No, I think that's it. One thing that I've had to focus on over the past couple of months has been lighting for the webcam. So I've got a decent webcam. It's a Logitech StreamCam, and then I've got the settings tweaked and a decent light source coming towards my face. So
Yeah.
that if you don't have the gain sort of cranked up, the quality is a lot higher. If it's not trying to struggle through dark images. So that's been my priority, just um, to have the better video experience, to make it a little bit more like you're together in the same room,
Yeah.
and then it improves things for like conferencing as well. If you're all on video, you've got those non-social cues or non-verbal cues that you can see. All right, this guy wants to say something. He's itching to say something, where you don't necessarily get that, and you get the over talkers when you're just audio only.
Yeah. And, okay, last question for you. When you are on a video conference with your organization, is there a mandate that says everybody needs to be on video? Like, is that like you need to do this, or is it just like people, like 5 people were, and then you're like, well, I don't want to be the guy that's not in this. Like how did your company promote a video-based culture?
So it's my company really hasn't. I've tried to. I think it also depends on it depends on the people within the organization and how comfortable they are being on video from their home. And some people don't want to share their home, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I just find it's a better experience when everyone's on video and you can chat with each other and see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I Yeah,
well,
I think it really should be if you're doing video conferencing, particularly if you have been on site and working from an office. If you're shifting to working from home and your whole team is trying to promote video, I think is a good thing and will make your web conferences better.
yeah. Yeah. 100,000% agree. Well, Chris, thank you for jumping in and breaking the ice and jumping on. And you had the best looking setup that I think I've ever seen from telecommuter. So I'm going to mute you. And anyone else that wants to jump in, if you're in the Zoom conference, go ahead and click the little raise hand button, and I'll promote you and jump on. But Chris brought up something that I think is huge, and that is, from my perspective and what I've seen when I see video conferences or just conferences in general with other organizations, if you don't have the video turned on, which a lot of people don't, like a lot of people just keep it blank. One, I've seen a lot of people that just aren't as engaged, and rightly so. If I know that no one can see me, and an email pops up over here, I'm like, da, 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 da. And it leads to a lot of the, you'll be in the middle of the call and they're like, hey, Jeremy, you have anything to say? And you're like, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I don't like, and what's going on in your head is like, I hope that was the right answer for whatever it is that they were talking about. Whereas with the video, people are always engaged, and a lot of times, you become self-conscious of like, I'm going to start working on something else. And you're like, oh no, I'm right here. I'm on video. So a lot of times I've seen that being on video, being a remote worker, keeping the video on does keep you a lot more engaged, and it enhances the level of the conference a lot more. I've been in companies. Let me say it this way. I've never been in a company that has said you have to have video, and rightly so, just like Chris was saying, because some people are like, hey, this is my house. I don't want to show people my house. I'm staying off camera. There's weird stuff going on behind me, or what weird stuff, personal stuff, family stuff behind the scenes. So it's totally respectable. But most of the video calls that I've been on, where the leadership and the administration, if they're all on video, I will say there's almost like an expectation that everybody else will jump on video as well. So that said, I'm looking at all of so I have the YouTube live chat coming in. I've got I'm moving windows around. So a couple quick things. I saw a couple chats coming in. Hey Jeremy, huge fan of your CBT videos. Was hoping you could recommend a source to learn multi-protocol BGP, MPLS, L2, L3 VPN, maybe GNS3 lab template location. So jumping from remote work into extreme Cisco tech. For those things, I would say if you're looking for those topics, I would head over to CBT Nuggets and look at the CCNP or CCNA and CCNP service provider certifications. You'll find some of that in there. And out on that. Also, another question, it says, could you discuss this crazy mindset due the unforeseen duration of the corona problem and non-predictable time from home office? I don't know how to motivate myself to keep going with the new lifestyle. What do you have that's a practical method in your hand, guys? So first off, I'm gonna read that question again, both for myself and everybody else, and I'm gonna add the emphasis at the right points. I've got a question. There's a crazy mindset due to the corona problem. You don't know how long you're going to be at your home office. How do I motivate myself living in this new lifestyle? What is the practical methods that you have? So I have some thoughts on that, but if you guys have some thoughts, flip your hands up in the chat, and I'd love to bring you on and you can talk about it. So if I were to sift it down to just the direct question, how do you, a lot of people are at home right now that have never been at home before. How do you motivate yourself while you're at home to get stuff done, you know, in this new mindset? So again, if you have a thought, raise a hand. I would much rather have a lot of you guys share than just me, but I'll answer it from my perspective to start off. And those of you that know me, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to control the spider web of thoughts of where it will go. So I'm going to let myself go on the spider web for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back for just a moment. When you're asking, and I see it's Amir, when you're asking, how do I stay motivated? So first off, I'm going to step back from a huge picture, like, and the only reason I'm taking this big step back is because from 100,000 foot view, and I just had this conversation with my wife. Why are we doing what we do? And that's why I was like, I need to depersonalize it too much. But like, why are we doing the work that we're doing? Why are we doing, why do we go to the church that we go to? Why do, like right now, and Amir, I appreciate your transparency in asking the question. This is kind of one of the things I thought would happen with the coronavirus, and everybody's, students are home, like everybody's at home, for a lot of areas. I told the way this conversation came up, I said, I have a feeling this is going to lead to a lot of people questioning why they do what they do. And I've seen it even in myself, because a lot of times, like, all the normal activities that just keep us busy are gone. And so we're sitting there going, so what do I do? You can only watch Netflix for so long before you're like, I'm losing the meaning of life. So first off, to answer that question, I would say you need to, I need to, we all need to kind of define the, why am I doing what I do? Why am I a wireless engineer? Why am I a online instructor? Why am I a routing and switching tech who wants to learn multi-protocol BGP, MPLS, L2 and L3 VPNs? Why am I doing that? Like, what is my why? That's a big part. Then step in, a step closer. Okay, well then, now that I know why I'm doing that, and I can't answer that for you, by the way, you got it. That's one of those, like, what's the meaning of life? So why is the sky blue kind of things. Next step is then to say, okay, what am I going to do to make that happen? And a lot of times, if you're employed by a company, they're going to set that for you. And someone told me long ago, they said, either set, and thanks, Chris, set what set your direction and set what you want to do, or someone else will set it for you. And that is so true. And then sometimes that's okay. Like, you're working for a company, they're like, we're trying to accomplish this. How about you jump on board and help us get there, right? So then going back to Amir's question, the way I would answer that is, every day working from home, think for yourself. Stop before you jump in and turn on your computer. And this is huge. Let me pause for a second, because this is so big. Before you turn on the computer and just start going at it, and you reach 5 o'clock, you're like, wow, I did a lot. I think, wait, what did I really accomplish today? That's what a lot of those days lead to. Think, what am I going to finish today? And I use that word very intentionally, finish, result-based. We live in the information age right now, where it's like, you can gather information, learn information, do information, send information. And in the end, it doesn't result in anything. So when you're a remote worker, like myself, like a lot of you that I'm looking at right now, when you are in that position, you have to define a result. Like, I will deliver an Ekahau map with the wireless access points placed at the specific locations to provide 20% overlap coverage, and making sure the channels are, like, you will deliver that by your 25-minute mark. And obviously that's a micro size thing. Like maybe for the day I will do it, or for the week I will do it. Like, always be sure that what is my result is highlighted, or else you get lost. So Amir, that's kind of like, how do I motivate myself to keep going with this new lifestyle? I would say, if the company hasn't, so first off, I would say, ask the company, what am I supposed to be achieving right now? Like, what results should I be delivering now? And that may just be like, hey, be available from 8 to 5 to answer phone calls. And then at that point, I'd be like, sweet, like, let's define results for, like, if they don't define it for you, that's where you can step back and say, okay, then the result that I want to define is, it's ironic. Pearson VUE, the certification testing group, just shut down all their testing for a month. And I'm like, oh, I was like, that was such a great opportunity there, gone. But maybe right now it's like, I want to learn something new. I want to study something new that will help me get certified in this, or will help the company this way. I want to produce something new. So that's how I would answer that question, Amir. I'm looking at some of the chats. So other questions from you guys. So again, I can keep talking on things that I do working remote, but I would love to hear from any of you guys that are on this call right now. What are things that have helped you? One of two things. What are things that have helped you be effective working from home? Like I love what Chris said with I work 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break, 25, 5. Like, and he mentioned, some people even go shorter. They go, I work 15, I go hard 15, and I go 2. For me, if I were to take that personally, I'm a 90-minute guy, which after hearing Chris, I'm like, wow, I sound crazy saying that. Like it takes, but that's because for me, I'm so distractible. I'm like, it takes me a good 20 minutes just to get into something. Like, okay, distraction's gone, focused. And that takes me about 20 minutes there. And then I'm like, okay, slam on it, for as much, as far as I can. And then, the timer ding goes off. I don't have a timer. And that's one of my, one of my follow-ups is I need to get one of those little, egg timers or something. So it snaps me out of it, but go strong for that long. So that's a huge tip. So if you guys have anything that you have that can help with that, love to hear that. Or if you have something where you have a question of like, I'm here, I've never done this before. What do you do for, and that's why I look to you, whatever the question is. So I'm looking, so I will say, this is a new style of topic for me, in the sense that typically I would do something like, hey, let's talk about multi-protocol BGP and all that kind of stuff. So normally I'm like, normally I have 100 some people and the chats are flying so fast that I can't keep up with it. And right now I'm looking going, well, and if nobody else has anything, then I guess that's great. Then that's that would be probably the least questioned live stream I think I've ever had. So that said, anyone else have anything that you would want to chime in with? Good. Well, guys, let me do this. I will thank you, Jesse. I was going to say, I will add a few more things that have helped me in working from home, and then we can wrap up. But Jesse said, I'm on day 3 of working from home. I find keeping in contact with people, even in formal conversation, is helpful. And Amir is saying, there's no one to force me. Amir, I can talk to that. But Jesse, yes. So moving from the office, and this is where I've seen it go one of two ways. And I have a feeling it's pretty heavily personality based. Believe it or not, on a personality profile, I'm way on the introvert side, in the sense that I get most of my ideas and thoughts by myself. Like when I'm alone, I'm like, hey, I start drawing, and that's my problem. And when I'm alone, I'm like, I'm 5 miles down the road that way until somebody else is like, dude, you're off the deep end. Like, I'm like, okay, let's bring it back. Whereas, and so working from home for me is like just a natural. I need to bring in the squirrel effect of like, stop going off over here. But I know a lot of extroverts, when they come home, they start going stir crazy and they're like, where's people? And, I'm losing contact, especially right now. It's really weird because the president of the United States has said, we recommend that no more than 10 or more people be gathered together at a time. And, and without scoping that in, it's like, okay, that ended every sporting event, I talked to my friend who's actually a restaurant owner. He owns mini Denny's franchises in different states, and they all shut down. He's like, I don't know what to do. Like all of the social gathering has stopped. And so a lot of people are 100% cut off. So getting in conversations, I know, so at my office at VIA, so if you don't know what I do for my non-teaching job, I own a company and it's got 30 some employees. We are a managed service provider and we go implement all kinds of stuff. And my direct influence is the network side, which, like when Chris was talking about wireless, I'm like, how do we configure that? What Meraki, Unify, Cisco Enterprise, like all the different stuff. Like that's one element of what we do. And what I found that team is doing is, like, I just saw a meeting. And so we use Microsoft O365 for everything. So it was Microsoft Teams, and I saw Ice Cream Social. It was literally a meeting that someone put on there, and it opened up where anybody from the company could come in and just join the Ice Cream Social. They're all grabbing ice cream at home, whether or not they have ice cream. It doesn't matter. They're just sitting in a conference conversation. And I've actually found this coronavirus has weirdly pulled my company closer together than it's ever been. And what I mean by that, we have offices in Arizona and in Texas. And the guys in Texas, so our main headquarters is here in Arizona. We've got 29 of our 32 employees here. 3 of them are in Texas, and they're all telecommuters. They work from home. So they are now looped in with everybody else. And it's almost like there's a whole new energy that's been engaged, because normally the people in the office totally forget about the guys in Texas because they're not in the office. But now that everybody's at home, we're sucking those guys in. And it's almost like we got 3 new employees because they're like, hey, it was one of them that started the Ice Cream Social. So I would encourage you, if you're working from home, start an ice cream social. I don't know, especially if your company has never done it before. Just be like, hey, just want to do a 30-minute thing on the, I mean, that's kind of what this YouTube live stream is like, hey, let's just get together and talk. The world is in crisis. Like everybody's kind of like, what's going on? Like even normally productive days seem to be unproductive just because of the sheer, like, what are we all doing? And maybe that's, Amir is like, there's no one to force me doing anything right now. And yeah, right now, there's a lot of times management doesn't even know what to do because everything has been turned on end. So, so JV, working from home makes you fat and eat a lot. True. My number one tip for that is, I used to, Costco is my place of choice. And they always have these big things of like quick little snacks. I had to cut those off because when I work from home, I literally would be like, I'm just going to go get a macadamia caramel cluster, just one. And by the time the day's done, I've eaten probably like 12 of them just as, I'm passing. So yes, absolutely. It does increase your weight if you're not intentional about, it's not even intentional about exercise. It's just cutting off all of the stuff that you have access to easily at home. Other people chatting in. So Matthew, one thing people think is that you cannot have any of the home noise like kids or dogs. Truth is, you want to minimize that noise, but most people don't mind too much. It adds a little more social interactions on the meetings, and that is true. Like here, this is my office, right? This is my setup. I've got a little wall-based whiteboard right there. I'm gonna rotate around. Right out there is my kids, the neighbor's kids, and a pool that's half empty right now. And so right now I can hear them chatting. Chatting, talking. Now it doesn't come through here or anything like that. But people are like, that's one of the things that now I've really messed up my camera. That's one of the things that a lot of people fear, and it kind of puts them on edge, is like, oh no, the dog's barking, they're like, mute, they're running over there, shut the dog up. Like it creates this extreme stress environment for everybody else in the house. And like, fine, don't work from home. This is driving me crazy, right? don't feel that way. Like the new home office environment, the telecommuter, Matthew, I will say, if you've got a dog going crazy, yeah, be on mute, put the dog elsewhere. But it's okay if the kids scream, if the dog barks at a doorbell that's ringing, it's not going to blow everything up, right? Jesse, our team recently moved from a whole bunch of hard walls to a cube farm. No one has wanted to talk in the cube farm because we know everyone else is listening. Now that we're all at home, we can actually talk more because we can control the audience. We are collaborating more because we have to use Teams or Skype to communicate, and that is a fact. And that so I think, Jesse, you're kind of tapping into some of the advantages of telecommuting, and that is the fact that you can control what people hear. Like it was almost, when I was talking to Chris, it was almost like there was this automatic trigger. When we would stop talking, it's like mute. Like you get into a mode, and I totally get that. Like it's autopilot, where it's like, I'm done meeting, I hit the space bar, or I hit whatever mutes the microphone. And that's normal, and that's fine, because you can totally control exactly what everybody hears. The spider web my brain goes onto is, in one sense, there's a level of relationship that can't be had. Like for instance, we have at my office where we're at VIA, there's 30 some employees. We do wall-less cubicles, to where everybody's got their, like, it's like a little cubicle thing that comes up to here, to where everybody can see each other, everybody can talk, they've all got their own desk, but there's no walls between them. By doing that, you have unfiltered, unmutable, natural relationships that happen. And I will say there's more conflict, but it does take the relationship deeper, in the sense, because you get the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's no mute or turn off the call in that kind of environment. And so people will work through, let me put it this way. There's a lot less passive aggressiveness in that kind of environment, where people can, okay, everything's great, click and log off and curse the person out behind the scenes. They're like, you get a lot less of that, because it'll come out at some point during the day. There is a lot of advantages, because you can get exactly the level that you're looking for with that. Whale, really curious about this one, because this is actually the stuff I'm going to be creating in a second. My wife is a teacher. By the way, my company, VIA, we are managed service providers for the education industry. So right now, like any comment like that, I'm like, oh, what's going on? So she is home, and working from home is difficult. She just wants us to hang out together because she's home. It feels like a weekend for her. Yes, my friend. Yes, I know. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter how long you work from home, that will never fade from your wife, ever. Now she will know that there has to be, like, okay, I'm coming in here and I'm going out, but that's where, so sometimes the only thing I can do is share my own experience. My own experience with working from home with family is, I find that creating a solid routine that guarantees my wife some time during the day works amazingly well. And so my routine, I'll give you mine, and obviously I'm not saying this is the way. Everybody's got to do what works for them. So my routine is, I wake up pretty early. I'm like 4:30 to 5, and I'll either get up and read or think, or I call that my prinking time, my pray, think, read, just all of those kind of things. So 5:30 is when I wake my wife up. And I have to wake her up, and it's usually like, okay, wake up, and so she'll just be half out of it, and she'll just start talking, we'll just start talking, and then finally by about 6:30, we're engaged. Our kids are up, they've all got their routine, they're off in the playroom, she's making breakfast and getting everything ready. So by 8 o'clock, boom, my day begins, and it's become the norm. And that's one of the first things that I would suggest for you, is make a norm. Right now it's all brand new, and it's fine to have scrambled eggs, of a schedule for a little while you're still figuring everything out. But say, okay, yes, I work from home, but 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or whatever it is, just say, this is the norm. because otherwise your wife, like your wife's gonna be like, well, why are you going in right now? It's in the middle of my thought. Like, don't, and that's where it starts ebbing and flowing, and hearts just get stepped on. So I work solid 90-minute chunks. I'll come out for usually 15-minute breaks, and I struggle sometimes because I'll come out and maybe I give myself too long because I'll make a coffee and I'll start talking with, and before long I'm like, too much time has gone by. But I do lunch at noon, solid set noon every day. We eat, and then I say, let's go for a walk. Like right now in Arizona, it is like today it's 65 degrees, sunny. We just go walk. It's probably a 1.5 mile path with just my wife. The kids are hanging out at home. I get back usually 1:15-ish, and then I'm back to it. And then I'm here solid until 5 o'clock. And I find that usually that lunch and just going for a walk and talking during the day, that feeds her. Like, and just like every marriage that I've seen, she is the opposite. I'm the introvert. She's the extrovert. She just has to get all of these thoughts and here's what's happening and what, blah, 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 blah. And so I just listen, I help process, and then I'm back. She's good. I'm good. And we kind of both go at it. So Whale, what I would suggest is your wife is a teacher. She's home. She's like, because think about it from her perspective. If it is a weekend, she doesn't have students. Like everyone's like, the world is ending. What are we doing? Like, she's like, Whale, let's go hang out. Like, so creating a routine is probably going to be great, but also giving the grace that we're in, and that this is where I'm like, I don't know what it is. World crisis mode, whatever it is. That's where we're at. So everybody's kind of like, oh, what's going on? Philippines, the government gave companies 48 hours to set up work from home. So we network engineers are busy around the clock like superheroes. JV, that is insane. I would say for a government to say, you've got 2 days, world, to figure out how to get all your employees working remotely. Good luck with that. It's going to be a bit rough. So my hat's off to you. So Daniel, thank you. Appreciate that. Got some questions. Thanks, Nate. So some other questions coming in on YouTube. So Spring Mommy, hey, welcome back. Spring Mommy always comes to my live streams. Tips on how to clear my mind before starting to work study. I'm struggling with clearing my head. Good question. This is one where with my spiderweb mind, I'm not sure. So this is going back to right where I was telling you why I do 90-minute blocks. It takes me about 20 minutes to get into anything. So I'll give you my best answer: how to clear your mind and focus. What I do. This is what I do. But if you guys have something, I would love to hear it on especially on this stuff. How do you remote work environment? How do you clear your mind to focus in? What I do is I will literally have my computer open. I'll have my Outlook up, and I'm like, okay, check. Okay, no email, close it. Like, I close it. No more notifications coming from that. Slack will be open. I work with a lot of organizations, so I've got Slack over here. Checking all the chats. Nope, everything's marked as red. Nobody's wanting me. Close, like literally close, log out, like no notifications. And I do that for each thing. Microsoft Teams, pull that up. Okay, check. Nope, no good. So that's why it probably takes me 20 minutes is I'm literally closing. And then everything closed, I open the one app, whatever it is I'm working on. Like just before I did this, I was doing an interview with somebody on setting up schools to work remotely, and then we were doing an hour back and forth interview. So I had my OneNote open. I had the Teams on. So just so you can. So here, I'll show you my work from home setup. I do the standing desk, and I literally stand all day because I get sleepy if I sit. So standing desk, couch over there. That's when my wife comes in and says, "Hey," I'm like, "Yeah, we can chat on the couch because no one wants to stand and talk to you." So window out there, I can watch all the kids playing and things like that. Desk over there that I still haven't set up yet because I'm brand new in this house, and you can see lights and light. I've got lights all over the place because of just what Chris was saying, where lighting does make a big difference. Why am I showing you this? Hang on. What was the topic? Oh, staying focused. Oh, right around here. Right there. That's where I can see all you guys. And there's Chris. So that's if I'm doing a video call, so the camera is right here, and literally looking through the camera, I can see the giant TV on the wall where I can see whoever it is I'm talking to. And the reason I do it that way is because it's for me, in my experience, when I'm having a video conference to somebody, if I'm talking to somebody and they're looking like this, they might be looking at a screen where I'm at, but there's just a whole nother level of connection when I'm looking straight at the camera and I feel like they're looking, because there's the life is through the eyes, you know what I mean? And if somebody's eyes, like if you're talking to somebody, they're going like this, and there's your working from home remote tip, they're going like this all the time. Immediately you're like, are you like checking text messages like in the middle of my conversation? Like, what are you doing? Like there's something that happens there. So I specifically set up this room so I can have this giant camera. I can be looking eye to eye with whomever I'm talking to. And I have the camera literally right here staring at that. So that was off of, how do you stay focused? How do you engage? So close everything, put the one thing up that I'm working on. Once my 90 minutes are done, that's where I'm like, okay, close. And then boom, it all ends up opened up somehow. I don't mean to, it just all ends up that way. And it's, and then I go through the same cycle all over again of closing everything back down. So that's the best I got. Justin says, I need help talking lamen, maybe a misspelling, to my bosses. Also wants to know how to be more professional when speaking to clients. I need help talking lamen to my boss. I need help talking to my, Justin, you're going to have to rephrase that because I'm not sure what you're asking there. If I want to get, so it's high on pixel. Thank you, Nathan, interpret it. Layman. How do I talk layman terms to my bosses? Okay, that I can help with. On live streams, everything comes unfiltered. So another conversation with my wife I was just having, I told her so one of our conversations, she was talking about something, I can't remember what it was. And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm not brilliant in a lot of things. My real gifting is the ability to take something really complex and explain it really simply. So when somebody says, how do I speak in layman's terms? I don't know. So obviously there's my level of brilliance, right? Lamen. So they want to speak lamen to their bosses. So the way that I do it is, and it's funny because I was just having this conversation with one of the network engineers at my office. He was talking to the clients and he's like, yeah, so we're going to set up the router and we're going to have it set up to where there's an access control list that blocks this and this subnet from getting there. And I stopped him. I'm like, brother, they have no idea what you're talking about. I said, so talking layman is your ability to translate technical to what will it result in for the client. So for instance, I'll take the network engineer that was just talking yesterday, where I stopped him and I said, okay, so what Eric is trying to say is we're going to have a firewall set up, because immediately I'm like, okay, what do they understand? They don't even know what a router does, but firewall, people have read the news. They know what a firewall is. So we're going to have a firewall set up, and that's going to keep the students from getting to the teachers, because we don't want them to access the teacher's stuff, right? Whereas where the technical person would say file shares and UNC paths and all of that, like blah, like you can't use that lingo when you're talking to a client. And I will say, back to you, Justin, that's, I don't want to say impossible, but some people really struggle with that, and that's okay. Like networking, there's a reason when a sales team goes out, you have the salesperson and you have the pre-sales engineer. Why do they send two people? Well, that guy can't really talk like this person, and this person can't really talk like that person. Occasionally you find one that can kind of ebb and flow between both worlds. But it's okay if you're one of those people that can just talk tech. That's fine. You just, when you're talking to your bosses, you may just have to pre-note something and give it to somebody to read before does this make sense? So High on Pixel says, if I want to get more into the development, okay, and I just want to, before we get into that question, I just want to, okay. It's yes, perfect. Yes. So if I want to get more into the development, automation and such side of networking, Should I go for the DevNet Associate or the CCNA and then the DevNet Associate? I have an A+ and CCENT this far. And then a couple, so let me answer that question first, because, and I know some of you here are also going for the CCNA Cisco certification. If you want to get into development, I wouldn't go with the CCNA. I would go DevNet Associate. And the reason why is I've created the content for the dev side of the CCNA, and it's very basic. It's very high level. Matter of fact, on CBT Nuggets, Chuck, Network Chuck, some people know him as, did all of the dev side of things. And he took the exam, he came back, he's like, I way overdid that. Like they're like, do you know what Python is on the exam? It's not like, it's very basic. So if you want to get into the development side, I would go DevNet Associate. And I've heard some really good things about that program. Second question is, what types of entry-level jobs would be on the, what type of entry-level jobs would be available from having the DevNet? I don't currently have a degree, getting associate at the end of summer. So none. That's my quick answer. What type of entry-level jobs are available for getting a DevNet Associate? And this is the big thing that a lot of people, so I think I'm gonna quell a lot of concerns. A lot of people are like, networking jobs are going away, everybody's going to become programmers. That's not true at all. Networking jobs are here for a long time in coming. Now, does technology evolve? Will eventually networking become something else? Yeah, maybe. I can maybe see maybe 10 years into the future, something like that happening. But right now, we're just seeing the start of, we'll just say, the as a service world taking over. Like for instance, Chris, you're coming up all the time just because you happen to be the big window that I'm staring at. So I'm always thinking wireless. So like in the wireless world, there's many different platforms. Take Meraki, Cisco Meraki, Ubiquity wireless access points. And of course, my mind is on the spot. There's like 3 other vendors that, or Aerohive, Aruba, like all these different platforms. And what you're starting to see is all of them opening up their API, which simply means that you can now manage these devices using a programming interface, right? So instead of having to buy, well, actually it's free, Ubiquity's controller, and then sign up for a monthly subscription with Cisco Meraki, and then buy a support contract with Aruba, and every single one of these has their own platform. That's all going away slowly but surely, and we're now making it programming. So I can take a Ubiquity access point, stick it up there on the, if someone were to come and say, hey, can I do like Ubiquity right there, and then an HP Aruba right there, and then an AeroNet, like I'd be like, no, you cannot do that. In the future, you'd kind of be like, well, yeah, because essentially you got 3 pieces of hardware that could all be controlled by some programmatic platform, right? And it can control them all and interpret the results from them all and put it all together. That's where the SaaS world is going. And that, I'm using WAPs because I'm staring at Chris, but if I was looking at switches and routers and firewalls, the network stuff is still going to be there forever, right? As far as we can see into the future before we all have Ethernet in our head or something. But in the future, it's going to be a lot more probably open to where you can buy the one controller from, let's just say, Cisco. And that controller can control Ubiquity WAPs and HP switches and Aruba, it can do it all from that one place because it's all an open architecture. Like that's kind of the direction that we're headed from what I can see. So as we're talking about DevNet Associate and CCNA and them introducing development into that, the only reason they are is because everything is slowly opening up to this API-based world where but that's like, the world I just described of like, yeah, grab this and grab that and throw it all together in one controller, like minimum 5 years, maybe 10 years out before it's like, yeah, that's just the norm. That's what we do nowadays. So hopefully that helps. High on Pixels is where that comment came from. So that said, Eden is waving at me. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So does anyone else have questions or thoughts? If you do, go ahead and click the raise hand in the Zoom conference, the Zoom chat, or if you just want to wave, that's fine too. Or chatting on YouTube Live, whatever you want to chat in on there, feel free to. Otherwise, we will. I know some people have come and some people have gone since we initially started. So again, we're winding down. I don't think I have much more to share on anything. So if Eden, let's do this because you said let's speak on video. So Eden, I'm gonna unmute you and hi Eden, how are you guys doing?
Hi, she's Eden. I'm Shir.
Okay, say it again. So Eden, and say it one more time.
Shir and Eden.
Cool. Where are you guys from?
We're from Israel.
Israel. Awesome. Well, welcome. It's good to hear from you guys. So the theme for today is we're talking about working from home. Do you guys work from home, or are you just tell me what is your experience?
Well, I'm not working from home. I don't know if to say unfortunately, but yeah, she's working from home. We both network engineers, but different types. I'm working at the bank environment. And she's like the biggest telecommunication in Israel, Bezek it's called, infrastructure. And yes, since this week, I started work at home.
Well, this is really super. So this is probably the coolest split that I have.
We're sisters. Yeah, we're sisters.
And your sisters on top of it all. That explains why you're sitting next to each other. So both of you network engineers. One of them is working at a bank. So first off, in Israel, what time is it right now?
It's 12.
12.
Yeah, at night.
12 at midnight.
Midnight. Okay. That makes sense then. So you are working at a bank, a network engineer. You go into the office, and you're still going into the office.
Yeah.
So first off, perspective, because I only know the United States and what I see from the United States. In Israel, is the coronavirus a big deal? Is there like it is? Okay.
The last night there was about 100 plus cases of coronavirus, but they just
today it's 600 sick from coronavirus.
600. So a couple nights ago, 100. Now it's up to 600.
Yeah.
So it's just now starting its spread, if you will.
It's not spread.
Got it. So the bank is still like, hey, come on in and do your normal job. And that's normal, but you're working from home, and you've always worked from home.
And I give the service home. It doesn't matter where I am, but it still matter where she is.
I mean, the bank in Israel are still working, but all other jobs are right now. Half of the country is not doing
shut down.
Yeah, it's shut down.
Got it. Okay, then you guys are similar to what we're going through in the United States. So I'm curious forgive me, I forgot the name. I've got Adon and
Eden and Chia.
Oh, okay. So for Eden, working from home as a network engineer, how do you set up your home environment? Like so because right now we have a whole bunch of people that are just getting started in working from home. What if somebody said, what can you tell me? What's the best advice that you could give for being super effective while working from home?
You need to find your a comfortable place at home, the quieter place at home. Just stay focused. And if you get stuck or need some help or have a problem with some issue that you find, you just take your phone and call, and don't be panic, because it's very stressful when you are all alone and you have a big problem and something is just shut down for the customer and you don't know what to do, and then you cannot ask your friend because it's not there. So this is my biggest problem. So just take a deep breath and just ask someone on phone. This is what I can say from this week that I get stuck with.
Right. So does your company that you work with, you said it's one of the largest telecommunication groups in the country. Do they have a pretty good support network? Like, do you use Slack or Teams or something like that to keep everybody connected? Or is it just like really...
We are a group of like 60 people that support business I am from the business environment for customers in this country. There are private people who have her internet in their houses, and I support the business at this country.
Got it.
We have like a very special supporter all in all the country, and we just support for everyone with with a Centrix phone.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all.
That makes sense. So your best tip is obviously create a quiet environment, create a place where this is my work zone. And as you're working, don't feel like you're extraordinarily isolated.
Yes,
like when you get stuck, it can be super stressful if you don't just start reaching out with and connecting with other people.
Because everything can happen even when you are alone. Things can happen like in a real regular day, and we need to just to manage it. We need to get with it by the time.
Okay, so last question for you then. Can you get like what is the can you give an example of something that you've been involved in, like I was supporting this, and I was at home and this, as again, it's pretty rare, first off, that there's two network engineers in the same place, so this is great. So you're at home, something happens. Like, do you have a practical example, like an actual situation that happened where you're like, this is what was going on, and this is how I handled it from a remote work environment perspective?
Well, today I have a issue that one of the customer called, and he told me that he has site to site by 40 equipment, yes, 40 equipments site to site, and something happened with his phone environment. Something with the SIP was blocking, and phones can get work.
Okay,
and
so his phones were down. SIP wasn't traversing the VPN. VPN was down or something. So phones weren't connected.
Yes, and really we just need to try and ask him what is exactly doesn't work, where you want to go, just to figure out what is the real problem, where is the specific problem that we're talking about. And all the debug I was doing, all the policy that I was checking, everything was fine, everything was correct. And I was like, okay, he's right now, the customer is shut down. He can't work. All his work from home are shut down right now. Okay, what I do? So I just need to think, what do I do? So I consult my friends from the security team from my work. And I asked them what they think, what we should do, what we should try. And we try some things. We just by the phone, we just have to figure out, just maybe talk to the man from the private technical of the customer to see what he configured on his own Centrix environment, all his phone environment, just to figure out what is the problem. And maybe the problem is at the customer side and not really at my side. And just to figure out, and it was really stressful, I might have to say.
Yeah.
But they understand that the situation here is now very tight, and people didn't start to understand even what is the biggest influence of the country and influence of the calls. We have a lot of calls every day, just 100% more than a regular day, just because of the situation. And things gets really slow, but I hope next week it will be more,
back to a regular rhythm of things, right?
Yeah. Now we just manage it for the.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, gals, thank you for it's midnight, and I appreciate you guys jumping on with me. And
we do CCNP just because of you.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I hugely appreciate it. I've got one more question that I want to bring up, and let me see if Amir, are you there? Are you so Amir, I can see your hand raised, but I don't know if you have audio connected. So and Amir, I also want to join, but I don't have audio connected. So got it. Exactly right there. So cool. Well, that being said, I think that this has been super helpful. It's super helpful for me just to hear from you guys and to interact with you guys. And I know Don, even working, just connecting with other people that are working remotely, and having a conversation is just, sometimes it's just like, oh, good. It's just great to talk with you guys. So, so that being said, I appreciate it. We'll do another live stream. I'm doing them every Thursday now, same time, 2 p.m. Arizona time, which is Pacific right now. We always change time zones instead of something else. So until then, appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon.